from the Black Financial Channel. Good to see you. And also everybody from Facebook, Financial Juneteenth on Facebook. That is my page, Financial Juneteenth with Dr. Boyce Watkins. Let me see here. I want to make sure you guys can see me okay, because I don't know if you can see me on the screen. If not, give me a second here. I'm going to try to pull you guys back in. Okay, let me try that again. Anyway, all right, so here's the deal. Here's the reason why I'm talking to you today. How you doing? They call me beautiful, and Miss Furlow, good to see you. Yeah, so Byron Allen is a comedian, and he is he's not in funny business no more. He's actually in the business of doing big business, and as a result, Byron has now become one of the late great moguls in the entertainment industry. He actually just made a major acquisition for a bunch of sports networks. Disney had to sell them off in order to get approval for a merger they were doing. I believe it was with Fox or something like that. And in order to get approval for this merger, they had to sell a bunch of properties. They had to sell a bunch of sports networks. Now, you guys might have known about this deal because Ice Cube and I forgot LL Cool J were trying to get access to these networks, and I don't think it quite worked out for them. But it looks like Byron Allen might have done what they could not do, or pulled off as part of a group what they can't do, or what they weren't able to quite pull off here. They pulled off a lot, but just not this particular thing. You don't win them all. So here's I'm gonna read some of this to you. I'm gonna read out of the Grio, and then we'll read out of Bloomberg, because I think the Grio is actually owned by Byron Allen. So I should probably grab another media source that is that's not owned by Byron Allen, right? So let's see here. Here's what I'm reading. Hit the thumbs up button, please. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please hit the thumbs up button, and let's cheer the black man on. He seems like good people. I mean, I don't know Byron Allen personally, but he seems like a guy who's one of the good ones. So that's always a blessing, because you got some crazy coonish black people out here. When they get a little successful, they just kind of lose their mind. So it says, over the course of his career, Entertainment Studios founder and CEO Byron Allen has earned a reputation for shaking up the status quo. Thanks to a new acquisition in partnership with Sinclair Broadcast Group, valued at a whopping $10.6 billion, it looks like the trailblazing media mogul has done it again. Friday, it was announced that Diamond Sports Group, a subsidiary of Sinclair, would be purchasing 21 regional sports networks plus Fox College Sports from Walt Disney Company, with Allen slated to become an equity and content partner. Previously, Disney had agreed to sell 22 networks in order to get regulatory approval from the Department of Justice for its $71.3 billion deal with 21st Century Fox. Quote, "This is a very exciting transition for Sinclair to be able to acquire highly complementary assets," Chris Ripley, president and CEO of Sinclair, said in a statement. Ripley added that although consumer viewing habits have shifted over the years, the tradition of watching live sports and news remains ingrained in our culture. So basically, it sounds like he's part of a group that bought a package of sports networks that were on sale from Disney. And I guess everybody really wanted these networks. So whatever it is they made, it sounds like it has the potential to be a hugely profitable situation. Just because, now one thing you should understand is that just because you're part of a $1 billion deal, that does not mean you're going to go off and make $1 billion or even $1 million for that matter. A lot of times we in the media, we're so told to sort of be quick to celebrate when a black person is a part of a big contract or a big deal. But signing a $10 billion deal is not the same as actually getting $10 billion in compensation. Sometimes you can sign a very bad deal that causes you to lose lots of money. So it's sort of yet to be determined whether the deal makes sense or doesn't make sense. When you're talking about investing and you pay for an asset, what matters the most is the value of the asset relative to what you paid. Meaning, if you look at what they call the present value of future cash flows, meaning if you take all the money that comes from that asset and you do a certain equation to kind of discount it in a specific way, does that exceed the amount that you're paying for the asset? So think of buying a business like buying a plot of land, and you're going to take this land and you're going to farm this land, and so somebody says, well, you should pay $1 million for this land because it's going to grow corn, and you're going to take this corn and you're going to go sell this corn on the open market, and you're going to make a lot more than $1 million, right? Well, let's say that you're growing corn, and let's say the value of corn suddenly drops, and you can't make $1 million back. You only make $500,000 over the next decade or whatever. Well, some would say that you paid too much for that property, right? So don't you can't automatically celebrate the acquisition of sports networks as an automatic win. A business deal, a merger is like a marriage. Some marriages are wonderful. Some marriages can ruin your life. Am I right or am I right? Tell me yes or no if you understand what I'm saying. Yes or no? Have you seen the examples? I want you to think about a marriage that turned out great, and I want you to think about a marriage that turned out not so great. And that's pretty much how business is. Every business deal like this, it's an economic marriage. And that's why I tell you guys that black people, we've got to learn to make economic love with each other so we can form economic marriages, because economic marriages and economic love generates economic babies. And so when you get together with other people that are just like you, that want to do business, and you come together with your best ideas, and you complement one another with your resources and assets, and you support each other, then what happens is you form these bonds, almost like molecules bonding together and forming these amazing compounds. And you also get reproduction right out of that. Antonio says, wash your hands, sir. How about this? Watch this, man. Watch this. I'm smart ass. Anyway, do me a favor. Please shout out your city. Shout out your city, your business, or your dream. Your city, your business, or your dream. Let's do the city shout out right quick. Please do that. And that way I can see where you're coming from in the conversation. So let me see here. So I'm going to read more of this article. What they're also saying here is that with this deal, Allen, who bought the Weather Channel for $300 million last year, if you remember that, he made that big deal with the Weather Channel. So he's working with some cash. Good for him. As a teenager, he became the youngest comedian to ever appear on The Tonight Show, starring Johnny Carson. He went on to become the first African-American to own 7 television networks, the first African-American to own a movie studio that distributes directly to theaters, the first African-American to own a 24-hour news organization, the Weather Channel, and now is the first African-American to be part of a $10 billion media expansion. So I think that's great. I like this guy because even though I don't know him, I don't know what his politics are, I don't really care. I know that his politics is money. I know that he's able to, separate, the real shit from the bullshit. A lot of people are caught up in the bullshit. You're caught up in whether or not you think Trump likes black people or not. Who cares? You're caught up in whether or not, Barack Obama and his kids are adorable and how much you love Michelle. Who cares? You're caught up in, whether or not the Republicans or the Democrats are going to win the next election. Who cares? What matters at the end of the day is what you're doing economically. And so I don't care who's in the White House, Byron Allen's going to win. No matter who's in the White House, Byron Allen's children are going to be well fed. No matter who's in the White House, he's going to be wealthy. He's going to move forward. He's going to keep making moves, whether you have Trump or Obama in the White House. In fact, what's really crazy and ironic is that today the stock market blasted off, and a lot of money. I mean, I looked at my portfolio and I saw a bunch of money that kind of popped in, and it happened because unemployment actually under Trump is lower than it's been in 49 years. Now, do I like Trump as a person? I not really, but it doesn't matter. All I know is that that Trump being in the White House has actually done a lot for my stock portfolio, and a lot of my students in my stock market class have done well. Let me see, Bitcoin kicked ass today. Somebody mentioned that. The Bitcoin market crashed. A lot of people ran away from the market. I didn't run away from it because I wasn't a short-term investor. I wanted to be invested in Bitcoin for a long time. So I believe in crypto, and apparently Bitcoin's done well too. I don't know, but it doesn't matter because I'm not going to sell my crypto for a while. Let me see. At Thirstagrams, Dr. Boyce, you should tune in to Tone Talks because he's talking that talk and come back. Okay, I don't know what that means, but yeah, well, Tone used to be on my YouTube channel. I used to let him use my Your Black World channel, and it didn't quite work out after a while. He moved on, and that was fine. I was happy for him. But I can't say that we're the best of buddies, but I told you I'm not fighting with black people in 2019. We got to fight white supremacy, man. We can't be spending all our time fighting each other. Let's see. Dre the Dream says all natural skin and healthcare line. Mr. Robinson, MPLS, Minnesota. M. Powell, good to see you. Thank you for always moderating. I appreciate that very much. Cassandra, Arlington, Texas, Winters End Athletic Field Construction and Maintenance. That is a long name, Cassandra, but hopefully you're making that long money too, girl. I love it. Derek Robertson to own multiple businesses. That's his dream. That's an excellent dream. Mr. Clinton, politics sucks. Who else? I'm looking. XRP. Darren says XRP went up. Oh, did it? That's what I'm talking about. I own me some XRP. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. All right, all right, all right. So basically, Byron Allen made a big move, and it looks to me like it's historic. He says my position is that I would have to work 100 times harder to get the same as a white person. That says a lot. I mean, it says at least he's racially conscious. Although the final price tag for his acquisition was far less than the $20 billion the channels were originally valued at the larger Disney 21st Century Fox deal, Christine McCarthy, Disney's senior executive vice president and CFO, said the media giant was pleased to have reached this agreement. So let me see here. Let me dig a little deeper here. Now, this is a Bloomberg report. Let's see. Bloomberg says that Byron Allen, who the one-time comedian and TV host who's building a broad-based entertainment empire, is now one of the backers behind the biggest deal in sports media in years. Allen is a minority investor in Sinclair Broadcast Group's $9.6 billion. Now, they're saying $9.6 billion. DeGrio said $10.6 billion. You know, what's a billion? You know, up or down between friends, right? It's just $1 billion. So it's interesting. It's a difference. I don't know what the difference comes from. A deal that catapults the entertainment entrepreneur into the big leagues. I don't like that statement because it's almost condescending. I've always felt like Byron Allen's always been in the big leagues. He's never a little league player. If you recall, he made a major deal to buy Nate Parker's movie when Nate Parker had Birth of a Nation, and before they tried to basically undermine it by pulling up an unproven allegation from 20 years earlier where the girl eventually, a decade after Nate Parker knew her, she killed herself. So they said, oh, he must have raped her because she killed herself. So again, it's like kind of like what you see in the media where they say, oh, just blame the black man, just blame the black man, right? And so literally they were trying to pin this assault on him, even though there was no evidence. But then again, since when did you ever need evidence to take a black man down? But Byron Allen actually went to, I don't know if it was Cannes or Sundance or one of these white film festivals, wherever they are. And he made the biggest bid on that film. He actually made the biggest financial offer, but Nate Parker went with, I think it was Fox Entertainment or whatever it was, to distribute the film. I guess because he felt that the distribution would be better served that way. I don't know. But long story short, Byron Allen's, he's been a major player for a while. He's not major just now. He's been major, and he's doing a great job, and I'm very proud of him, and I have a lot of respect for this man. So anyway, he says it's a huge opportunity. The networks were put on the block by Disney after it agreed to buy a big piece of their former owner, Rupert Murdoch's 21st Century Fox, Inc. I'm a huge fan of Rupert Murdoch, Allen said, and this is some of his best work. The acquisition announced Friday is one of a series of bets Allen has placed recently. Last year, the Los Angeles-based businessman who started his company 26 years ago on his kitchen table paid $300 million for the Weather Channel. Allen said he's known Sinclair chairman David Smith for 3 decades, helping lay the groundwork for the partnership. He even sold Smith his first syndicated show, Entertainers with Byron Allen, when Sinclair had just 2 stations. Syndicated shows. Allen has continued to provide Sinclair with his syndicated programs, including Funny You Should Ask, a comedy game show now airing. Allen said he pressed Sinclair to let him be an investor. So think about this, y'all. I want y'all to pay attention. Pay attention now. Byron Allen was an entertainer like so many other people. I mean, the black community will never run short of, black people. The black community will never run short of entertainers. The black community will never run short of entertainers. And so anyway, the difference though between Byron Allen and other entertainers is kind of like, honestly, it's similar to Oprah. Oprah is the same way. Oprah, it doesn't just operate as an entertainer. She's not just trying to go and get a TV deal. Oprah wants to own what she does. Oprah Winfrey Network owned, right? That wasn't a coincidence. And that's driven by the fact that there are some people who see the tiny vision and there are some people who see the bigger vision. And so ultimately the question you must ask yourself in every case is, which vision are you seeing? Are you seeing the bigger vision or are you seeing the tiny vision? The tiny vision is an entertainer who says, I want y'all to write me a check. The bigger vision is the entertainer who says, I'd like to see if I can be an investor. Or I'll work for free, just keep the money, but just give me an equity stake. Or let me take some of the money you pay me and put that into the company so I can actually own shares of the company. You want to own a piece of America. I know that America's made you mad. I know that you feel left out sometimes. I know you feel angry about some of the ways that you've been excluded when it comes to searching for jobs and things like that. But I'm just going to tell you, the stock market consists of publicly traded companies, which means anybody in the public can buy those shares. So when you're thinking about spending that money to buy a new pair of shoes, also buy you a few shares of stock. You spend that money going out to dinner. Well, go buy some stock in the company that you just ate at. Just mix it up a little bit. That's what I'm saying. Just mix your game up like basketball. When you play basketball, you can't have a one-dimensional game and expect to win championships. So when it comes to economics, black economics, we can't have a one-dimensional game and expect to win in the game of competitive economics. You can't win the game of powernomics when your game is one-dimensional. Now, do me a favor. Please hit the thumbs up button. Everybody hit the thumbs up button. Shout out your city, your business, or your dream. Please do that. Your city, your business, or your dream. Also, if you guys haven't joined the Black Business School, the Black Business School is an online university we created to teach finance, investing, real estate, everything else. I taught at universities for many, many years. You guys know this. My PhD's in finance. So I gathered a bunch of experts, and we can teach you business at literally for the amount that it costs you to go to McDonald's or Starbucks every day. And the difference is that it's better than what you got in college because it's culturally relevant. We teach to solve specific problems. Our number one reason for existing is to build wealth in black communities worldwide. So we have students from all over the world. Most of the people in the school are black, and it is what it is. Now let's see. Bounty Nomad says, how do you feel about working independent through hospitals and surgical centers, per diem jobs that you only need to work when you want, doing this temporarily by stacking cash and investing? I think it's a great idea. That's what my sister does. My sister works. She started realizing the value of flexibility, and flexibility sometimes can be more valuable than actual cash. So flexibility means you have freedom, which means you can take that time and you can reinvest it and make even more money. So I'm a big fan of flexibility. Moving on. The U.S. Justice Department required Disney to sell the properties to win approval for a $71 billion acquisition of Fox's entertainment assets. The regulator said that Disney, who also owns ESPN, would have too much control over sports media otherwise. These are very valuable assets. They are hard to come by, Allen said. No one would sell them if they didn't have to, and this is a situation where they had to. So, that's interesting, right? So pay attention. I mean, what are they saying? They're saying, certain assets you just don't sell, and the thing is that for black folks, we're trained to think that you should sell everything if the price is right. And there are some things you just don't sell. So cord cutting risk, the risk of cord cutting. This is something I thought about too. I personally would be very skeptical about getting into television and radio or print media or any other kind of media that's not digital, just because you have this risk of what they call cord cutting. Right now, you've got these major players that are entering into this whole industry of digital streaming, right? Netflix, Disney, Apple. Everybody's got a streaming service. Even CBS and NBC have streaming services, Hulu, all that. And so, even I think I even saw one that was like, not Discovery, but Curiosity Stream TV, which is like, streaming service for nerdy people. And that's what I see the trend becoming. I think eventually you're going to have not just the big conglomerates that have sort of these subparticles, if you will, in their streaming divisions, but you're also going to have like these sort of very niche streaming services. And I personally don't think there's any incentive whatsoever to pay a cable bill. I pay a cable bill because I want to keep my Wi-Fi. That's all I pay for. I don't want the TV stations because I don't watch cable. There's nothing to watch. So anyway, cord cutting risk. Still, several potential suitors bowed out of the race to buy the networks, which some industry watchers see as vulnerable to cord cutting. The channels such as Fox Sports Detroit and Prime Ticket in Los Angeles command some of the highest subscriber fees in the typical cable TV bill, so subscribers may eventually balk at paying for them. Allen said the sports programming rights Fox has amassed will always find a home, no matter how they are ultimately distributed. Live sports is the one thing people value, and they're going to want it always. And this is one of the greatest collections of live sports, period, he said. How they consume it, that's a different conversation, but there's no scenario that consumers, fans don't want it. And I do agree with him on that. I think that they're always going to want live sports. I think the question becomes, what will people pay to view your live sports. We know it's always going to have value. We know the consumer is always going to show up. But if I'm accustomed to having all my customers pay me $100 every time Floyd Mayweather has a fight because they're doing pay-per-view, and there are somehow there's an alternative laid out where people can pay much less to get that same content, which I guess, I don't know, I guess if you have the exclusive rights, then you can just choose not to sell them. But the question becomes, at what price would the consumer just walk away and go watch something else? Because with sports, I mean, you're not just having the competition to actually see the live event, amongst those who are trying to get the rights, but you also have competition amongst different sports and different events. So for example, if you just a non-sports example, I was thinking about when the Avengers movie came out and Game of Thrones, had one of its biggest episodes ever. And I was just wondering if that was factored in terms of how people would balance out between the two. Because I know as a consumer, we didn't go see the Avengers the night Game of Thrones came out. We weren't trying to go see the Avengers that night, right? But we did go see it the next night. So in some cases, the consumer just consumes it all. I think with streaming services, that's what you're seeing. You're seeing people just subscribing to a lot of services. So I don't think Disney entering into the market is going to really necessarily hurt Netflix that much. But I think at the same time, I would be curious to know if you've got this thing where people can see these live games for this sports team and they've got to pay this rate that's way too high. If they would just say, well, I'd rather just watch something else and pay a lower rate to see a whole different kind of sporting event. I don't know. I'm really curious, but I do know that there's value in live sports. In fact, that's one of the reasons why ESPN receives the most revenue for their games and for their events out of all the cable networks, because that's live sports is one of those things where it's really hot, really valuable when it's happening, but after it's done, it's like old food. You just throw it out in the trash. It's not evergreen like a great movie where you can just stream it and get rights forever. A sporting event is pricey when it occurs, but later on, it's kind of like, okay, who cares? It's over now, right? So it'll be interesting to see that. Anthony says, invite Louis Farrakhan to join Blag Enough. Blag Enough, BLAGGENUF. BLAGGENUF. That's our social media platform. That's our Facebook alternative. I'll type that in so you guys can see it. It's blagenough.com. And basically, is Farrakhan invited? Of course he's invited. The Nation of Islam, anybody from the nation who's watching, just know that that the minister or any of his lieutenants can always come and use my platform whenever they want to. Like, that's just something that I've extended that offer before. I'll keep extending it. I think Facebook made a huge mistake by banning Farrakhan. I think that it's gonna cost them. I think that they don't understand the magnitude in terms of the number of people that actually ride with Farrakhan. I'm one of them, but I'm not the only one. There's a whole lot of people that support the minister, so it'll be very interesting to see how that plays out. So anyway, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button if you haven't done that. Also, if you want a free e-copy of my book, It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar, please go to drboycewatkins.net. That's drboycewatkins.net. Also, I'll be in Philadelphia on May 19th. So if you live in Philadelphia, on May 19th, I'll be doing a Financial Juneteenth investing seminar all day. It's going to last the entire day. So you can learn more by going to drboycephiladelphia.com. That's drboycephiladelphia.com. And that's pretty much it. So, and also don't forget, All Black National Conventions in Houston in September. So mark that in your calendar so you can come down to Houston and hang out with us. So I'm out of here, guys. You have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe and all that good stuff before you go. I'll see you later. Take care. Peace.